You guys are watching two anime characters react to another anime character talk about politics. Welcome to 2025. This is gonna be a hell of a ride. I'm a bird, I'm a bird! Blizzard doubles down on DEI as employees encourage political violence against conservatives.
Bro, what?
Yep, it's been happening for a few days now. I didn't want to talk about it at the beginning until there's more stuff coming out. So I guess it's time now.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So I think there's a very obvious increasing pushback against DEI and wokeness on a global level, but that pushback is very apparent in the United States, where over the past couple of months, but definitely in the past week or so, we've seen a pushback like we haven't seen in many, many years. We've seen an executive order effectively eliminating DEI in the federal government. We've also seen companies looking at this changing perspective on DEI, and they try to go with the wind and start eliminating their DEI-related programs, or at least pretend to, and attempt to preserve the little trust that customers have left in them at this point. And one
Blizzard is going the same way as Ubisoft. I know it's Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, not just Blizzard, but Blizzard honestly is having and will have their worst year this year.
Yeah, the only thing that's barely, if anything, trying to get clear out of the red is just WoW.
They already had a meltdown during the election in the official company Slack.
One company in particular has not really gotten the message. They haven't gotten the vibe shift, and that is Activision Blizzard. Now, knowing them, this is not too surprising, but recently, Activision Blizzard has been exposed through a leaked company message where they are actively, through their president, doubling down on DEI. And to make matters worse, a couple of employees from Activision have been exposed for supporting political violence against over half of Americans.
How is this even? You cannot tell me these are rational adults.
Yeah, they did not need this right now, because right now Activision Blizzard is struggling, and the real comparison point definitely involves Overwatch 2. This game is struggling mightily right now. They are at an all-time low in terms of concurrent players, and you can see the overall reviews of this, a 22% review rating. That's absolutely abysmal, and a lot of people are comparing this game and the negative PR with Activision Blizzard to Marvel Rivals, which is still crushing it every single day. We're 2 months out since release.
And it's actually fun compared to whatever Overwatch 2 is. And yet we're labeled as the bad guys. People always need to label someone as the bad guy to justify their actions.
Release in the in-game count is dwarfing that of Overwatch 2, and it's very much deserved, because this did something that Blizzard can't do these days. They produce a good game without the negative PR their company is associated with, and there's nothing to do with DEI, with Marvel Rivals, or any of the other negative things that Blizzard is constantly putting upon themselves through very boneheaded decisions. Now, this headline is not going to help the situation for Activision Blizzard. So here we have this headline from That Park Place. Call of Duty developer Activision Blizzard doubles down on DEI as U.S. Department of Defense reverses course. Yeah, that's a great idea, ladies and gentlemen. Let's double down on DEI in a time like this, where people are feeling more and more comfortable rejecting this stuff because they don't feel like they're going to get canceled or fired from their jobs for criticizing these discriminatory programs that were way...
Okay, what is the logic behind this? So, in the inauguration speech itself, the new president, he announced that DEI hires will be looked into and it will be worked to eradicate DEI hiring practices. And you hear that, and you hear people say that people need to be hired on merit, but you just double down that, no, let's not hire people based on skills. Let's hire people based on checkboxes.
Way too commonplace throughout the government and also throughout these companies. So Mark Kern here, aka Grums, who is a former member of Blizzard, is going to be sharing a lot of related posts to this story that really shine a light as to how crazy, how much wokeness is going on at Activision Blizzard. But like I said earlier, I don't think that really surprises a lot of people. So here's the first post saying Activision Blizzard president doubles down on DEI and ESG. Hundreds of employees send likes. In an all company message, Rob Kostic reaffirms the company's commitment to disastrous non-merit policies that have destroyed studios nonstop in 2024. And this is the message on Discord from Rob Kostic saying, "At everyone, team, given the headlines around diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the workplace, it's no surprise that questions have come up with what the future looks like at Activision, whether our focus and priorities around DEI will shift. To be clear, this work continues to be extremely important in everything that we do. It's important to our games, our culture, and who we are as a company.
And how we go bankrupt.
Our inclusive growth team has made great strides in helping us weave inclusivity in all aspects of our business. Our strategy here remains focused on enhancing the experiences of all employees, providing exceptional experiences to players globally, and providing accessible opportunities to those interacting with our company and brand. I look forward to all the great work we'll continue to do together."
Do they not understand they're actually self-reporting? Because if they aren't just checkbox hires, you would have nothing to worry about. Because you know you hire them based on skill. But when someone acts like this, you know for a fact they know they're in the wrong. And they just need to dig their heels in there just to justify it.
So obviously this is Rob here doubling down as the president on DEI and Activision. And here's the thing that to point out here. Look at the reactions from this team on Discord. It is overwhelmingly positive and excited. This tells you exactly what you need to know about Activision Blizzard. They are...
Okay. The amount of reacts to that post has nothing to do with how other employees feel or think. It's more of a, if they do not do that, if you do not react to this, it's more of a, they will be chastised for it. I've been in an environment where conversations were held over Slack. You feel like you have to react to these things, otherwise it's your neck on the chopping block. So this is not an indicator that all the employees are like that.
Stoked about this. They are big proponents on DEI, and honestly, like, looking at this again, not too surprising, I would imagine most of the people at Activision Blizzard, they probably hate you. Like, let's be honest here. Like, they probably don't support anything you believe in if you're critical of DEI. They clearly stand on the other side of the fence. They are very invested in the stuff, and they're very hostile towards anyone who would dare to question these discriminatory programs that they have entrenched themselves in. Now things would get even worse here. So here's another headline. Blizzard technical artist calls for political violence against Trump supporters before disabling online presence.
What?
You...
So wait. You say something dumb and you're like, whoop, I'm out.
That's like the same shit, right? If you started cooking something so complicated, and then you just walked away like, hey, Zen, take over.
This is not even, oh my god, this is so brain dead.
Wow, they're going with the full modern audience approach. This is amazing. This all broke within the same couple of hours. It's just a terrible look for the company. So what are we talking about here? So again, Grum says this in quotes, "Kill your local MAGA," end quote. Blizzard technical artist and associate art director of Gearbox both wish death to 50+% of America in a post and likes to their public Facebook. So let's see what we're talking about here. So here's this Kyle Hickey individual who is the person who's on the art team over at Blizzard, the technical artist here. So on Facebook, they said this: "Kill your local MAGA," referring to Make America Great Again, which is anyone who voted for Donald Trump, so AKA over half of the United States. And you can also see in the shuffle of things here, Max Davenport liking this post on Facebook, who is the associate art director at...
How did it reach a point that people who are linked to their place of work are comfortable with posting stuff like this? Like, you have to agree that there's some kind of mental and brain degeneration happening.
Bro, I honestly do not know.
Gearbox, but yeah, he's kind of lost in the shuffle there because everyone's focusing on Activision Blizzard. But Kyle Hickey here made a big mistake. Okay, besides like the potential illegality of what he said, he's got to face some sort of punishment for this, right? Right?
I would hope so, but knowing how everyone is, he's not gonna face any punishment.
I mean, this right here, just even like getting the politics out of here, like this alienates half the country. You've made it very clear that you, as a employee at Activision Blizzard, do not support over half of the country. You don't want them. You have very violent inclinations towards them. They are not welcome buying your games. And if Blizzard doesn't do anything about this, they're basically co-signing this because they're clearly aware that this is happening right now.
Like, one thing I don't understand, right? So the whole point of democracy is you as people come together and you vote for what you want. And in this case, this is what people wanted. So now it's like, okay, we didn't get it our way, so we're gonna oppose that you should not be alive?
So if they say nothing, they're saying they're cool with this message, which is a terrible, terrible PR move. And again, this individual, Kyle here, I'd be very careful making statements like this online. Things like this used to fly for the last 4 years. I don't think it's going to fly anymore, and I understand why this guy would then turn and delete all of his socials. But the hypocrisy here is unbelievable. Nobody in the traditional media spaces are talking about this. There's no mainstream games journalists talking.
I wonder why. I wonder why they specifically don't want to cover this. By the way, I'm being sarcastic about the whole I wonder why.
Talking about this, even though this is gigantic news, right? This is a very crazy situation. None of them in the access media are talking about this because it doesn't fit their agenda. However, you know, if this was a conservative individual working at a company in the gaming industry and they said, you know, kill your local Democrat, my God, the whole industry would come crashing down on that individual.
Yeah,
And they'd be
pretty much from what I've seen. And again, I probably have a more limited understanding of how it all goes because it's like my 2 years in US. But even in those 2 years, yeah, that's usually how it goes here. If a person who lives here for this small amount of time notices it, how do people not notice it who live here for like since birth?
fired within hours. We all know that's how it is, but the industry, and especially Activision Blizzard, is so woke and so left-leaning. I doubt anything's going to happen from this. But again, like I said, whether he gets punished at his job or not, he might be getting punished legally. I don't know if they'll be able to like really make this like a specific, because it's kind of open-ended enough for it to be like a true threat or something. But at the very least, he's clearly advocating for political violence, and that has no place in society whatsoever. But of course, as I said, he has wiped all of his social media accounts. I don't think,
Of course. Say something dumb and right away run and hide. Or someone, like probably HR from the company told him, okay, you need to go dark for a little bit.
it's going to work that way. I don't think this is going to be a successful strategy because the internet is forever. There's screenshots everywhere. No one cares if you deactivate. It's not going to have you avoid any sort of consequences. But as always with these people in the industry, the second they get hit, they disappear because they just want things to blow over. And let's try to keep Blizzard responsible and keep them, you know, in the
Oh, they found Rev. I heard the siren in the background. They found him.
loop here and not let them wiggle out of this one because this person's just going to deactivate for a couple of weeks and just go back to work like nothing ever happened. But there's another very interesting angle to all this. Like I said earlier, there was an executive order right at the beginning of Trump's presidency that began about a week ago, his new term, and he, through an executive order, eliminated DEI at the federal level. Like completely, it's gone. Like it's already gone. Thousands of people have lost their jobs who were in DEI, and millions of taxpayer dollars have now been saved. And this is the official stance here. Let's listen for a second.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
Who could possibly have a problem with that? Making a society that is merit-based, that allows the people.
Look, you don't have to like him, you don't have to support him, but you have to admit that things do need to be merit-based.
Yes, it does. Because if not, then you have incompetent people, especially in certain fields that requires actual skill. That's very bad if you have that checklist there.
With the best talent to get the best opportunities. How could anyone be upset about that? Well, of course, the usual suspects are, but yeah, that is the policy here, but there's a little bit more I want to listen to this.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
In the year 2025, saying that gets you a standing ovation. That's how wild things have gotten in our society, where that is a brave...
I mean, the way it works is the more you get the push, the more you get the pushback. It's constantly like push or be pushed
statement. And again, the usual suspects on Twitter, they're not having a good time ever since that was stated. But anyways, you can see the executive order here that was put into place. They are cutting down on wasteful government DEI programs, and this is cracking down extremely hard, and a lot of companies are falling in line. But there's an interesting caveat here with Activision Blizzard, because Call of Duty has a...
Oh my god, I just realized there would be legitimately people in companies who did not know they were just a checkbox hire. And that's how they would find out.
Wait, no, you're right.
It happens. It happens. Sometimes people hire you just based on who you are or how you look, without disclosing that information. I had that experience once when I was interviewing for a job, and they literally asked me if I can get a darker tan.
The connection to the federal government, and that's through their Call of Duty Endowment Program, which is a partnership with the Department of Defense. Now, Mark Kern would point this out, tagging Pete Hegseth, the recently appointed Secretary of Defense, saying Activision has a joint program with the DoD. Do they not? For the Call of Duty Endowment Program, this is what their president sent out to the entire company today, doubling down on DEI. Since you are now the Secretary of Defense, I thought this would be brought to your attention. Thank you, sir. So, taking a look here, here's Pete Hegseth, the recently appointed Secretary of Defense. Just taking a little glance here, do you think this guy likes DEI? Well, the answer is absolutely not. And of course, the endowment program is not directly woke or funded by DEI, but why would you partner as a federal agency with a company that is practicing DEI, which is something that your department is completely and utterly rejected? That just doesn't make sense in terms of a partnership that probably wasn't very important to them in the first place. And we've seen Pete Hegseth talk about DEI directly in these orders, saying the president's guidance, lawful orders, is clear. No more DEI at the Department of Defense. The Pentagon will comply immediately. No exceptions, name changes, or delays. And I really appreciate this part right here.
Yeah.
No name changes. Because
so they couldn't find loopholes. Also, can we appreciate the fact that it's 2025 and we're getting our political roles from a VTuber? A man who is an anime girl.
Because that is the way that a lot of these companies, they wiggle out of these things. So a lot of companies like Walmart recently said, oh, we're abolishing all of our DEI related programs. Please give us a pat on the back and buy our goods and services. Well, they're just renaming it. That's really all they're doing. And some of their spokespeople have come out and just admitted this. They're saying that, oh, we're not getting rid of these things. We're just naming it different so people don't get mad. That's pretty much how they've handled all of this. And I appreciate the no name changes, but it's very clear that as the Secretary of Defense, he's saying DEI has no place in the Department of Defense. So I would believe that extends to partnerships as well with someone like Activision Blizzard, who practices DEI. And I also found another clip looking up anything related to DEI in his account. Right here, non-binary transformers. Our kids are being targeted by radical leftist agenda. Not only is it happening with DEI in schools, but it's also radical gender theory in their cartoons. This is a clip from 2023. And yeah, how times have changed. Let's listen to this.
On to another depressing story. This clip caught our eye. I first got it from Rachel yesterday, and it was made its way around. You know the cartoon Transformers, the movie Transformers, like robots that are, what are they, semi-trucks, and then they turn into superheroes? Well, this is the type of program, by the way, that you would have on Netflix Kids, right? Where you put in all the content filters so that your kids can only watch stuff that's age appropriate. This is precisely that type of cartoon. It's Transformers Earthspark, Season 1, Episode 17. It's just now coming out. It was on March of 2023. They're not talking about saving the day. They're talking about something else. Watch.
Ooh, I like your pins. I am Nightshade. My pronouns are they, them.
What? What? What do they do?
I'll never be able to look at a Transformer the same way ever again.
That
brother. In a kid show, man, like, it's crazy how far things have gotten. Like, yeah, I think it's reasonable to not want this sort of stuff in a show clearly directed towards kids. But yeah, it goes even further. Hold on a second.
Thanks. I'm Sam. I'm she, they.
Like, what are we doing, man? But I point that out just not only because it's a crazy clip that I didn't even know existed, but also it shows clearly this man does not support DEI in any sort of a way or any sort of wokeness.
Yeah,
so
nothing.
I hope there's actually some sort of some attention paid to this partnership with Activision Blizzard, because this whole thing is ridiculous and Blizzard has no one to blame but themselves for all this controversy they are facing currently.
The big, loop around we had, starting with Blizzard, going through all of this, back to Blizzard, my brain is spinning.
Bro, what just happened?
You guys are watching two anime characters react to another anime character talk about politics. Welcome to 2025. This is gonna be a hell of a ride.